Hola, hola, hola.
Welcome to episode 30 of The Gray Area. It's me, Rex Jones, and Tim Tompkins.
Truism, Tim.
That's right. Follow Truism Tim on X. And, we've been going over these various shows that we've had. They've been very themed, right? Especially last when we talked about the tragedy that took place in Australia. And when I took a look at the board today, when trying to find things to talk about just in the morning, I was already all the way full. I had like 5 or 6 topics. And we're going to get into a lot of interesting things here today, specifically relating around Trump and his various antics. But you didn't even know who Rob Reiner was, right? And you still kind of don't.
I'm not really in that space. I'm you know me. I'm more that technical guy
Right.
who just likes the cool shit.
Yeah, you don't know every single talking head or person that's ever been famous on earth. Therefore, you're ignorant and don't understand politics. You have to know about like a Hollywood producer from back in the day.
Yeah, I
To
mean,
be on top of like modern news because Trump's crashing out. He's crashing out on a variety of fronts and levels. But this tragedy that took place, this son on drugs or whatever kills his parents, and then the president comes out and essentially like dunks on him when he's dead. So you have appreciation for the modern age and like comedy and like where we are.
Dwight Howard dunk.
I don't know. I don't know enough about basketball.
No.
Yeah, I don't know nothing.
You're good, man.
Yeah, it is what it is. But let's get into this first story. So we've been covering Venezuela for quite some time, right? And the various saber rattling and antics there by both sides, both parties. What do we do, Tim, when we usually invade a country? What do we do? What's our number one thing that we like to say they have something, right?
WMDs, baby.
Right. Weapons of mass destruction.
Gotta have a good reason. Have a good reason.
Like Saddam Hussein, like Assad, like they say chemical weapons or the drugs. I guess this would be the ultimate chemical weapon, which would be fentanyl, right? Wouldn't that make sense? And I guess the reasoning we'll use to go in there is that they have the WMD and they must be stopped, right?
Yep.
So this order classifies illicit fentanyl and its precursors as weapons of mass destruction, unlocking national security tools like sanctions and asset freezes against cartels and networks from China and Mexico. Trump highlighted the drug's role in like the 300,000 annual deaths, building on prior cartel terrorist designations amid falling overdose numbers to around 80,000 in 2024. And very interesting stuff here. I think I've actually got the video of it as well of him talking about it. Let's go ahead and watch that. How interesting. They got 3D models of the boats they blow up now.
One more step to protect Americans from the scourge of deadly fentanyl flooding into our country. With this historic executive order I will sign today, we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, which is what it is. No bomb does what this is doing. 200 to 300,000 people die every year that we know of. So we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. Today,
what do you think about that, Tim? What's your opinion? Do you think this is the right step? And like, what do you think it'll be used for?
I think this is a justification. Like I said last time, whenever you close airspace, that's the first thing you got to do, right? To indicate, because we've done that before in other countries. So really, it's the writing's on the wall. I mean, there's no way I can look at this any other route. We've already covered this too when it comes to where the most of the fentanyl come from. It's sourced in China and then refined in Mexico, and that is like 90+%. Right. So if you're gonna do a WMD, you're gonna do that on China before you do it on Venezuela, right? Like the fundamentally
not very patriotic, not very pro-America.
Yeah,
And this is Tim's been bought off by the Chinese Communist Party to discount from Venezuela's role in controlling they control everything about our government. They control everything. It's all run by the Venezuelans. They're actually the group that does it all. It's very simple. Venezuela is not a signatory to the IMF, and they need to be for like the whole global plan to work. So we're going to go in there and depose the guy and take all his stuff, and it'll be a big victory for America, and that's what they'll say anyway. And the debate that me and you have had, not just about this, but just about wars in general, and if we'd go into like another full-scale new one, I've been saying yes, by the end of the year that's going to happen. You've been like, no, it's going to be a longer time. You have to be patient and wait for these things to develop. And I'm like, well, like when has it ever developed this rapid a pace, right? And that's been my argument. But we'll get into this latest post from Trump. But what do you think about that?
One thing I do want to say, so we've talked about the oil being the reason.
Right.
There's no doubt in my mind at this point that that is the play. And one of the reasons for that, and I don't think I've dove enough into this for you guys, but you guys got to understand when people talk about oil, there's different versions that it comes in. So
they got a lot of crude oil.
Yeah, crude oil is really the main thing that's in question. And then there are certain countries that take the crude oil, which is basically in its raw form, and then they refine it. And countries like India do that. But
China loves that.
Yeah. But then more so than just comparing the crude to the refined, you got to understand that there's different types of oil in itself. There's light oil, and then there's like heavier oil. And think of it as like thicker stuff, right? So heavier oil is going to be used for things like cars and jet fuel and those types of things. So not all oil is created equal, and you go to specific regions for specific types of oil, because depending on how it was formed in the ground and the geography of how that is mapped out, that determines a lot of how that oil is made. So think about, do you think people think that it's just, okay, United States, we have a bunch of crude oil, but we have light crude oil. That is the key difference. Venezuela, what do you think they have?
They have the heavy crude oil.
Exactly. And they have the biggest repository of that heavy crude oil in the world, besides Canada. Now, Canada is one of the largest exporters of that for us. But if we take Venezuela, what does that do for us? We get way more control of what we want.
Well, so. I don't know. You're what they call a hater, and it's not nice to be anti-patriotic and anti the country. We have something called the Chinese have it, so we have it too. Mandate from heaven. I get to do whatever I want. So we're gonna go ahead and read this latest post. I'm not sure if this is from like yesterday or if this is from very recently. I know the account that posted this, a couple hours before it went on air. So I think this is relatively recent. Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. It will only get bigger. I mean, come on, man. And the shock to them will be like nothing they have ever seen before. Until such time as they return to the United States of America, all of the oil, land, and other assets they previously stole from us. Okay. You need to do a land acknowledgement. You're on stolen land. You're on America's land. The Native Americans are technically us. It's us now. That's too good, man. That's too good.
Well, what he's referring to is when we had cooperation, and then we got pushed out. But that's not ours.
I love it. So that's classic Trump. That's next level. The illegitimate Maduro regime is using oil from these stolen oil fields to finance themselves, drug terrorism, human trafficking, murder, and kidnapping. For the theft of our assets and many other reasons, so much to read, including terrorism, drug smuggling, and the human trafficking, the Venezuelan regime has been designated to a foreign terrorist organization. Therefore, today, I am ordering a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going into and out of Venezuela. That's going to like nuke their economy.
No, look, he showed the card. It's in all caps, guys. It's here for you to see exactly where the play is. This is the snap on the play here.
Explain that.
Look, he now has said we're going to sanction all the oil tankers. They've been lying. Just look at how many times oil is mentioned in this paragraph. More than fentanyl in drugs. Like you can literally count how many oils versus drugs, and there's like a few drugs.
I haven't seen a fentanyl.
I haven't seen a fentanyl either, but he just says, look, he says oil. He says, where is that? He talks about drug smuggling and human trafficking and terrorism.
That's
one line.
That's crazy.
And then all the rest of it is oil, land, assets. Cards are on the table. Everybody knows. But you know what's crazy? There is nothing that we can do as we just sit here and watch it just happen.
Well, and this is like I was saying before we went live. This is like the first Star Wars movie where like the bug aliens, they surround the planet Naboo and they won't let anybody through. And Trump is the Darth Sidious. My Lord, what do we do?
Yeah, like exactly. So
block off all trade routes to the country, then our assault will begin. Like I mean, hey, is this what you voted for? I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? And I'll get into this specifically with some of these Rob Reiner tweets that I have, where like the response I have from Trump, I have it quote tweeted from someone. It's just some like MAGA account or whatnot.
Keep reading this.
But I will. It's just the shared tone of like, how dare you criticize the president? Basically, people are saying good things about this stuff. I am ordering total and complete blockade. The illegal aliens and criminals that Maduro regime has sent to the United States during the weekend at Biden administration are being returned to Venezuela at a rapid pace. America will not allow criminals, terrorists, and other countries to rob, threaten, or harm our nation, and likewise will not allow a hostile regime to take our oil, land, or any other assets.
Why do we keep saying our? Why do we keep saying our?
It's the royal we.
Right.
All of which must be returned to the United States immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter, DJT.
All which must be returned to the United States.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I had turned on the soundboard, because
It's
here's
crazy.
the thing. This deserves the clown music, because at the end of the day, dude, none of that was ours.
No.
This is insane to me.
And like that, and that's the thing, right? And you can say like, American entitlement, like we do this everywhere. And the argument I see people make for this is like, it's closer. So that means it's whatever, like it's our own hemisphere, Monroe Doctrine, blah, 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 blah. This is like one of the more insane things that we've done, like in the totality of everything
that we have recent memory of.
Right. I mean,
there's
like
the nuance.
You can talk
there.
about like land invasion and like Iraq and something like that. You can talk about crazy stuff the U.S. military has done. But as far as like things to happen recently, they're spending $1 billion a day to keep these boats off the coast, and then people here can't eat. It's specifically the circumstances, right? Because you point to crazy Biden, right, and like all the military expansion. Like we did have more stuff under Biden. It's not like the stockpiles don't get depleted, even if they order more stuff.
Yeah,
right.
But to clarify again, it comes down to the light and heavy. And I accidentally made a oopsie.
You reverse the two,
oopsie
right?
Is like the light oil is car. Those are the things that we use for vehicles, which is why like when gas prices went out of control, we were like, all right, let's drill, baby, drill. But then if you look at the oil, if you look at the heavy crude oil, this is like diesel, jet fuel. This is like asphalt. This is like things that are like we would need from a fundamental standpoint for like these heavier applications. So I mean, look, we could just easily make a deal with Canada. But, it's probably going to cost us a little bit more. So it's probably easier for us to steal what Venezuela has. Well, it's not ours.
Liberate, free, bringing equality. That's a good one. Bringing equality and justice. We're not stealing the oil. We're bringing equality and justice to the oil. We are Monroe doctrining the oil. You see, there's like 20 different terms for what we're doing. Right. But none of them involve the word steal or like take or burgle.
Yeah. You know what I have a huge issue with? Everyone is now getting tired of America's bullshit, though. I'm not going to lie. Here's the thing. Not only just like us talking about this, but look, the world is watching. OK, if you have other countries that go and do the same thing, we would criticize them immediately. Right. Especially if we're not getting involved on it and we're not benefiting from it at any point.
Right.
Imagine China does something like this.
Well, I mean, and the thing is, we would point to like the Belt and Road and be like, they're developing, they're doing all this XYZ. Ultimately, they're making like cooperative deals with the countries, even if they are getting them in debt to them.
That's a business transaction.
So like you can point to it and say that's predatory or whatever, but you can go, yeah, like, well, they're not drone striking them. Right. And, I see New Groper say, steal, you mean conquer. Like this is not, it's not even conquering in the sense of like, it's not rational. This is not like a rational, like resource calculation. I get that it is on the primitive level, right? Of like that we want their stuff, but in the global arena, like as things fare, as our public image gets degraded even further, like this is not worth it in the long-term scheme of being able to like safely make deals with people.
Yeah.
Right. And like that's the problem. Is we're held hostage by whatever he decides to tweet at any given moment. And that's what pisses me off is like the liberals were right about that. At the end of the day, it was like the mean tweets. It actually comes beyond a step of being a mean tweet. It comes being like an issued decree from the president, basically.
Yeah, because that was the thing. For me, some of his tweets, hilarious, funny, whatever. You're not acting presidential. It is what it is.
Right.
But when you start getting into the territory where you're involving diplomatic issues and you're involving the face of America and how, You are literally the #1 representative at which everyone now judges America by. You have a fiduciary responsibility to do the right thing, because you and I aren't sitting there on the platform, are we? We're not sitting here being like, we're here in front of a couple hundred people just talking. We don't have that platform to say how we really feel, and that, hey, we want cooperation among all these other countries, and we don't actually hate you guys. Let's figure out how to make this work. We're sorry we fucked you guys over in the Middle East. Let's maybe figure out something for there too. Like, we don't get that benefit.
And this is the issue that I have with the whole like Russia relations, right? Is like the Middle East wars, all the stuff we do there has primarily been fought on the basis of keeping Russia out of there, right? Like that was our national security imperative for going in there, as being like, hey, we got a government like Syria, or we got a government like Iraq or whatever, or Iran that's friendly to the Soviet Union or to the Russian Federation after. We can't afford to have them have influence in that region. Therefore, Israel must have all the influence because we're bonded with Israel, right? Yeah. And you look at that and you go, okay, well, at least that sort of makes sense, right? Like there's a power struggle here that's been going on for a while, for a long history of the country. And like there's a reason why these powers are fighting. We can ultimately say good or bad, but when it comes to something like this, it's just like, what the fuck?
Do you know, I just had an epiphany.
Okay.
We used to be very think highly of China. The only reason back in the day when they were like a second or first world country and trying to develop, we were not fighting them. We actually wanted to bring them into the WTO, or World Trade Organization, allow them
Nixon did all that
and do things in order to like increase the productivity and benefit us at the end of the day with all the cheap labor and the Chinese products. At some point, also, we were friends with Russia, right? Where we start making enemies is when we feel like somebody is starting to become too big that we can't control.
Well, I mean, I agree with that, but not. I would even go a point beyond that. It was like, we can't deal with any kind of peer in any realm. It cannot happen. That's why we like the Europeans so much, is because after World War II, they like rolled over and said like, yeah, you can like control us. That's fine.
Yeah, we like people playing second base.
Well, you can literally, like, I don't have it prepped or ready, but it was so interesting and it stuck in my mind. The German Chancellor Merz, he's like, well, we used to believe in like Pax Americana, you know, like the Pax Romana, or like the Roman, like, you know, Commonwealth, or just kind of imperium that everyone was under. And he's like, we don't believe in that anymore. It's time for like Pax Europa, basically. But like prior to that, like that's the arrangement that we want with the rest of the world. And that's why we hate the Russians so much, is because after the fall of the Soviet Union, we basically tried to do that to them, but even to the point of like, they asked to be in NATO twice after the fall of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, but well, fundamentally, one of the things that was being spread around was the fear of communism. Now, communism, we all know fundamentally is a terrible idea. It doesn't work. We've seen it on mass scale. But as we were getting into this new age and this new world order, it can no longer be
new world order.
It can no longer be the actual justification. We can say communist China, but like really they have certain things in place that they're like a morphed version.
If our government is buying Nvidia stock, if our government is giving giant $500 million or $1 billion subsidies to companies like Amazon, or like to the data center companies like Amazon, or like OpenAI, Project Stargate, you know, I find it quite funny that we don't consider ourselves to be in some sort of hybrid economy. Now, exactly how that scam is designed, I'm not smart enough to lay it out or even describe it, but you can kind of tell that it's there, right? Like Teddy Roosevelt, like one of the reasons why everyone thinks of him as being such a great president isn't Spanish-American War and national parks. It was the fact that he broke up a lot of the big like trusts that have with antitrust law, right?
Monopolies and such.
And there's a reason why, and you had a phenomenal thread on this about groceries and whatnot, and I saw another one on meat packing. The reason why stuff is so expensive is not even necessarily because of rising costs, although that is a factor to it. It's the bureaucracy and red tape that's allowed by the government, and where these giant monopolies exist, and no one's allowed to compete with them and what they can do, because the safety standards and industry standards are so rigged to the point of only, you know, a multi-billion dollar company could do any of it. Right. And like, that's an issue we see both local and systematic. So my point with all that is just to say, like, when we criticize these other governments, I don't like communist China. I like my dad. My dad is literally the Chi-Com guy. Like he hates it, and that's all he talks about.
I don't love China either, but at the same time, I know they're not fundamentally the governments are fighting. It's not really the people.
Right. Now I agree with that definitely to a certain extent. There's a phenomenal clip of Trump, and I'm blanking on it now. I don't have it pulled up for the show, but he's on like 60 Minutes or CNBC, and they go like, you've said nice things about Putin and he's a war criminal and a murderer. This is like way back when. This is in the 2010s. And he goes like, you think we're so innocent? Like, you think we haven't done the exact same stuff?
Yeah.
And like, that's a great moment from Trump, right? Because like he's admitting the truth there for everybody to know.
But that's actually what goes and pisses a lot of these countries off, is when they see the hypocrisy and they see that we're able to go under the guise.
Well, I would say that he used to say it from a framework of, oh, this is bad, we should stop doing it. And now he's like, yeah, this is the way the system works.
Yeah.
And they let me run the system.
Good point.
Like he probably, in a very sick way, I think he probably has a lot of fun, you know, but let's get into more of it, because there's just so much more. And you didn't even know about this. And it's hard to understand like who this guy is. Like I know him from All in the Family, which is like a show about like, it's like a classic like 60s or 70s show about kind of like a slightly bigoted like older guy named Archie Bunker. He's like, I don't like the Polacks, like the Polish people. And like Rob Reiner is like, I guess like a Polish guy. He's like, hey man, like he's a proto-liberal basically in this. But basically this guy is an icon, legacy figure in Hollywood. His dad was very famous and very rich, and him also by default. Rob Reiner and wife killed by son in Los Angeles home. Prosecutors charged the couple's 32-year-old son, Nick Reiner, with 2 counts of first-degree murder after a heated family argument at a party hours earlier. Nick, who battled long-term drug addiction and homelessness that inspired his 2016 film Being Charlie. Yeah, so like you get well from being sober, and your dad's like, yeah, we're gonna make a movie about it. That would fuck you up, right? Wouldn't that?
Yeah,
like just think about that.
Just slightly.
Yeah, that's probably not the best decision. Was arrested and remains in custody without bail. Tributes poured in from Obama, Stephen King, and others, while President Trump's mocking post about the Trump derangement syndrome drew bipartisan criticism as insensitive amid their family's grief. So he did it, apparently. He killed these 2. It's very horrible, very sad. They have a lot more family. Pray for the family. No one deserves something like this to happen to them. No one thinks something like this will happen to them.
No.
Right?
But like now it makes a little bit more sense now that you say that there's like drugs and addiction and some other psychotic things that could be at
homelessness.
Play here.
And then they make you do a movie about it. Like, I look, it's just Trump. No matter what you think of him, no matter what you think about the mean tweets or whatnot, like this is above and beyond any standard. Like, this is not okay. And I haven't even watched the video on this. I'm not even sure if it's him talking about the Rob Reiner thing, but I just wanted to point this out. This is one of those like nameless, faceless patriot accounts, like MAGA accounts. Look at the framing here. Anyone that claims to be a Trump supporter who spoke negatively on his Rob Reiner post today should be thankful. He took a bullet, charged 91 times in sham indictment, multiple impeachment attempts, called a Nazi, all for you. He can say whatever the hell he wants. See, he's got a mandate from heaven to be a dictator. Isn't that fucking insane?
He can say whatever he wants. So it's like he's not even, he knows it's bad, but the justification is like he can say whatever he wants.
He paid the price, Tim. You don't understand. He got shot in the ear.
So he has permission.
Now he can be whatever he wants.
You can say whatever you want.
Like, I thought that we weren't retarded. Like, I thought that, and this is the biggest embarrassment to me as to like why I voted for the guy. It's like, I thought voting for the guy was the not retarded thing to do. And you know what? I'm still glad Kamala is not the president and whatnot, even though it appears she'll run again. But it appears to have been pretty retarded, because he's pretty retarded. And like that's my opinion. Right. And we're going to get into what he said. I'm going to go ahead and just
see.
Let's see what this video. Let's see what this video. Let's see what's going on here. I'll go ahead and rewind.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump.
A deranged person.
I'm sorry. I always pause things too early. I wanted to say something, and then we just got to let.
Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned.
You ever talk about yourself in the third person, Tim? You ever go, Tim is walking down the stairs today. Isn't that weird, right? To refer to yourself in the third person?
No, that's a high level of narcissism. Where that comes from?
He's very deranged as far as Trump is concerned. Like he himself, he's ascended beyond being one person. He's a topic. Like he's a living
omnipotent.
Yeah, seriously, that's so weird.
Said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite. That I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it.
Okay, and he got stabbed to death with his wife by their
like
child.
A deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought it was very bad for our country. Yeah.
I mean, so just think about the American story. So you die in like a vicious knife attack, right? And like your own kid kills you or whatever. And then like, I guess if you're a ghost or something and you still like view over the planet, you see the president, you're like, and he was a loser, he's a stupid guy who hated me.
I bet you he wants to come
look
back.
who had the last laugh, you know, like.
Well, Trump doesn't forget.
No,
he has a very passive aggressive personality to where he will remember anything that you've wronged him for.
Donald J. Trump. This is a tweet that got so much backlash. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession with President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals, blah, 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 blah. It's all the same shit. He just like insults and he brags.
Yeah, kind of like the second half of this really,
he's running.
You kind of forget that the first half even happened where he was very sad.
Right. I mean,
but that's just posturing. You got to say that. It's like you somebody says, oh, well, my cat died, and you're like, my condolences, but you don't really like half the people don't really mean that shit. They're just like, oh, you know, it's
right. Well, I mean, the better thing is like, if you don't like the guy, and like, it's honestly like, as far as Trump is concerned, like he's the president, he's a lot more of a big deal. He's won the game in that respect. Like, why would you even do this? And it speaks to me more just the like faux morality of the Republicans and of Trump in general. It's like this. Like he's just a dick, and like he's a dick for no other purpose than being a dick. And the only political wins that we get anymore is like when he's rude to someone. Like they're like I showed you that post. They're flex. They're like, yeah, he's our president.
And he called the reporter piggy. He's
like, quiet piggy,
quiet piggy.
Yeah.
No, I mean, here's the thing with these types of things. Yeah, you're right. These aren't really wins. I don't know why he concerns himself with these things. My main issue with all of this is like too many things he's focused on all at once. Now I know he has cabinets. I know he has people that do things for him in the background that we don't see. And then he can claim victory and that he did such and such, but really there was somebody working behind the scenes. But again, at his age and in general, and you know how it is to run a business, cognitively, even if you're not doing something, you're still having to like manage it in some aspect, and it takes a lot of cognitive like bandwidth in order to like actually process all those things. So like event happens, and you got time to go and tweet on it, but then also like 10 minutes ago you just tweeted like we're shutting the airspace in Venezuela.
He's taking a break. He's taking a break by doing it. Blowing off some steam.
And then we have another post where we just call Biden like super Looney Tunes and deranged and stuff like that. And then we go like all these different ways, and then it kind of like loses sight of like what we're talking about, and it just like at some point it just feels very like random and arbitrary, and it's like, is there any method to the madness?
No, and I don't think that there has been for a very long time. Maybe that once was true, but I mean I think what we're left with is ultimately like there's a saying, and I forget what I forget where it comes from, but it's like when a clown moves into a castle, he doesn't become a king. The palace becomes a circus, essentially. And like, and that's very tough, negative talk for me on Trump. And I know people may tune into the show all the time and they're like, Rex, all you are is negative about Trump.
You're a libtard.
Yeah, you're a libtard. You're a Trump hater, whatever. Look, like I was like literally in love with this man basically for like a decade. Like, I was like, he's the greatest thing ever. He's the greatest politician ever. I love him. He's been persecuted. And it was because of things like the Russia hoax, which I knew were fake from day one. And they ruined his first presidency with that. And like, that is not to be discounted. Like, setting aside COVID, setting aside Biden, setting aside everything else, they ruined his opportunity to get anything done. The first administration, it was all Russia all the time. That's all you heard about, and all that shit was bullshit.
But yeah,
so like maybe that does make you go insane.
Well,
right?
And you're hitting a good point here, because fundamentally, because he has this like passive aggressive nature where he doesn't forgive or forget.
Right.
It does something to him internally where that fire is still being fueled at every point that makes him distracted.
Yeah,
from the main thing.
That's very high level. Maybe this is how the whole game works with him, is like he's like a kid and they use like the shiny keys of authority. Like, see, you can do this now, you can do that.
Or
now.
remember that guy did that to you?
Exactly.
You should go do that.
Go mess with them.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if it's at a point where you're not professional enough to, like, whenever this Reiner thing happened late at night, I think the Trump tweet was early in the morning. If your first move is to do this, ultimately that's very Biden-esque behavior, right? It's doing something that there's no reason for you to do it, but you're just doing it. In the case of Biden, he would do nothing and wouldn't show up. But with Trump, it's like he's doing too much.
Hey, look, bro, he set a precedence. I told everybody this a long time ago. I said, look, whether you hated Trump, whether you liked Trump, 2016 was a very big inflection point for presidency.
Yeah, and
first guy that you really saw that wasn't really in the whole politics.
First orange man to become president. Yeah.
And you could really see like what it was like with social media now involved, and like the access to information and being able to be on camera. Now, Obama did kind of start that, but like Trump really took it to another level as far as.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
And so now we've gotten to a point where I'm just thinking, will we ever get back to some level of just reasonable ability to just not be politically correct, but be able to be like professional?
Yeah, well,
because there has to be a professionalism that comes with these things.
I think it comes with like the crash of the country, and I think that's what you're going to see. Is interestingly, like Trump and this whole like MAGA movement and this whole political position. I think this will be seen by future historians as an economic indicator, right? Like just the fact that he's alive, right? It's like this old system, despite everyone agreeing that it doesn't work, is still somehow working.
That's a good point.
Right.
I didn't think about that.
And then once he's gone, like that's the biggest black swan event you could think of, right? Because what does everyone else like in it? Everyone's focus changes.
I was to say, what do you like? Just thought experiment. What do you think happens? Next election happens. You've got, I don't know. We don't have to speculate on who's going to win, but like in general, let's say whatever side wins. What does that president look like?
Whichever side goes more extreme will lose. And
true.
I think that's very clear. I think the real sin of Trump is that he politically, like it's like a punch to the liver or something that sits you down, like to the populist movement of like trying to believe in like an icon figure, to be like the leader of a movement. I think it'll be just a giant blow as like and then everyone will pull bad. Everyone will do bad, and it'll create an opportunity for some real weird changes to happen in this country.
And that's why I'm like sort of excited, because I'm like, you know what? All this is happening. Fine.
Right.
Nothing we can do about it. Just go ahead and keep doing whatever you're doing.
Right.
We can sit here and complain. What you're talking about is like, I feel like, me going from the left, and then like Biden and the transgender and like the wokeness and stuff like that happened with all of that. They're like taking the car, steering it, and my head's bashing against this window.
And you get convinced to turn the other way.
And I get convinced to, maybe the other side will be safer. And
then Trump, like,
and then bam, you just like your head smacks into the right side of the car. And so like at this point, I'm just looking to get out of the car. And it just made me like be like, all right, I'm gonna sit in the middle seat, because then I can't get hurt.
Right.
That's where I feel like a lot of Americans have gotten to the point, and why we could probably do shows like this now, and more people will resonate, because of the fact that like we've been bashed against both sides of the window.
It's just like we're not participating in the scam anymore of like there's one side that has a solution to fix this, right? And like this is what I hear from the right wing in terms of Trump is like, and this is what I hear my dad say. He goes like, it's so incredible all the things he's doing to save the country, and it's so amazing every day the things that RFK and Tulsi Gabbard are getting done. And it's like, well, if you look into it a little bit, Tulsi Gabbard, you know what her job is DNI? It's basically to take all the information from all the different intelligence agencies and then give the president his briefing.
Yeah, he's taking the snippets.
Except he's not briefed by her. He doesn't want to be briefed by her. He has the CIA guy brief him, and then they put together like a Fox News style clip show. This is publicly stated. I've heard Larry Johnson, Lawrence Wilkerson, people that used to work in the CIA and the DOD and all of that in presidential administrations.
So he has.
I've seen them all talk about this. Like she is literally ignored, and then RFK literally comes out as like, well, some of the vaccines are good, and it's like, regardless of what you think about those two people and those two things, they're not doing what he appointed them to do, and those are the two like shiny examples. Marco Rubio is a little terrorist in our own hemisphere trying to start new wars because he's angry about being from Cuba. And then JD Vance is like trying to stay electable for 2028. So he kind of is like the smiling chudlet, like he just doesn't do anything. And he goes over to Europe and tells the Europeans they better do free speech.
Which is why I feel like
I
don't know how much he believes in some of these things Trump does, but you got to play the long game at that point if you want to be president. I at one point I'm like, oh, I hope he becomes president, but I don't know how much he's been brainwashed by the system too. So,
well, I mean, all these people like they just all have special interest connections that are so insane they can't be ignored.
Palantir for him.
Yeah, and I think you look at like, I'm sure AOC is corrupt and evil and all that, right? But at the end of the day, like this brand is going to be so toxic that they very well could win. That they very well could win, especially in 2026. Like if we're at like full war, the Democrats will sweep the midterms and take everything.
God, I hope it's not Newsom. God, I hope that doesn't.
Oh, that's very likely,
dude. He's like, look, game is game. I have to give him credit where credit's due.
But he's the fakest person ever.
But he's so good at talking. He's so good at saying what you want to hear and then being able to like posture the thing as like, oh, it wasn't a mistake.
The moms are attracted to him. That's the thing. The moms like him.
Yeah, he kind of like does the complete opposite of Trump, where he's always like very like apologetic and like super nice.
Newsom.
Yeah. But like secretly, like behind the scenes, he's got his own particular.
Bring me 15 hookers now and get the drugs ready. Get the plane loaded. Oh, go to my private vineyard. Like,
yeah. All I have to do is take a look at California, and that tells me all the data that I need to know. Simple as that for me. How that 4 years goes.
You made an interesting point. And look, I don't like the Republican Party when it comes to the Zionism. I really don't approve of that. But as far as records go for a politician or just someone you'd want to put in office, because ultimately someone does have to be in office or else it's total anarchy. And people crucify me in the audience for this because he's pro-Israel or whatever, but Ron DeSantis is not bad.
I know. And actually, he did a really good job in Florida.
Like, when you look at Ron DeSantis and you look at what he did to Florida, and people forget this. He ran against a guy, and I don't want to slander anyone. This is speculation. I'm an idiot. I can get things wrong. He ran against a guy named Andrew Gillum, who's like a black gay guy. All right, and he barely like 0.1% or whatever, like 10,000 votes. Yeah. He wins the election. Insane. And then the guy gets busted with like a hooker and meth and stuff, the opponent, like a few months later and whatnot. And they had a lot of doubts about Ron DeSantis when he first got in, but he reformed that state. And I'm not sitting here giving any political endorsement personally, because I'm pretty much done voting, except maybe in a local election or something. But, we have to consider people like that, especially people that aren't tainted by and I hate to sound like a liberal, but by Trump, like by that whole movement. Because I think if we go to full war and stuff, that whole brand is going to be so unpopular. Yeah. We're going to get full communist socialists.
Now the counter, the argument that some people make around, like they say, well, DeSantis doesn't know how to run a government on a larger scale, and
Florida's fucking huge.
But Florida is pretty
bigger than most other countries.
But in general, you have to give everybody a shot. If Trump wasn't even in politics at all, I'm still gonna take DeSantis.
Florida is one of the few states I respect.
I think think he didn't do a good job of is his campaign in general. I think he was very soft in the way that he approached it.
Yeah, and
and he wasn't speaking like he would normally speak to the Florida, and maybe because he was out of his comfort zone. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's just a little happy chudlet, and sometimes it's hard for people to perform well, and like that's the thing. Ultimately, that's why we're all going to end up back in like caveman era, is because we keep picking Rugg think politician strong. Well, politician tough. I vote for politician. Like,
but you got to also think about who you're going up against. It's very hard to go against a Trump who's making a comeback. I don't think that's a winning scenario.
Think he's toxic, man. Like,
no, but I'm saying during that time period, I can't blame DeSantis, because you're literally going against somebody who's like the poster child.
His nickname sucked. Ron DeSanctimonious. Well, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But like everyone gets a nickname, everyone gets slandered, blah blah blah. But like, there's no nickname for Lindsey Graham, right? There hasn't been a nickname for Ted Cruz in a very long time.
I already came up with one. Ted Cruz Missile. Ted Cruz Missile.
Ted Cruz Missile is pretty good.
That is. I
hadn't heard that one before.
That is my stamp. I like that. That is my Ted stamp. Cruz I own Missile. That one.
Yeah. That's actually fire. I like that. But do you want to go?
Let's go to Kansas.
Well, really quick,
after this.
I thought this was really interesting. This is just Fuentes responding to the tone. I know you have a lot of disagreements with Fuentes. I have some disagreements with them, but interesting take here.
Or someone gets murdered by their son. It's a horrific tragedy. This is a horrible story. And nobody deserves that. I don't care what their politics are, what they said on the internet or on television. Nobody deserves to be murdered, stabbed to death with their wife by their own son, who they tried to help, and their best friend discovers the corpses. It's despicable. And it's despicable to make fun of that. And I do think that, look, somebody like George Bush passes away of old age at the very end, and you talk about his political legacy. That's one thing. Some guy, some producer, some civilian dies at the hands of his kid. It's such a grisly situation. It is objectively awful to make fun of that. Now, if Trump were actually doing what he promised to do, you could overlook the fact that he's a douchebag. You could overlook the fact that he's vain, that he's a narcissist, that he's tactical but not strategic. You could overlook all these things if he was bringing home the goods. That was kind of the deal in 2016. You said, we don't love everything about Trump, but you know what? We're willing to accommodate. It's an acquired taste, but it's okay because he's doing all these other things. Well, what's actually the pitch now? We get nothing. We get no concessions. There are no deportations. We haven't ended one of the wars. We haven't remade the federal bureaucracy. And then he's a dick on top of it. Then it's all about his vanity and his own self-aggrandizement on top of it. What is the redeeming quality now? It's nothing. It's hollow.
Wow.
It's empty. So that's my take on the Rob Reiner stabbing. No one should be making fun of that. It's not funny. Who could honest to God look at that and laugh?
Real quick. All right. So not like I'll give Nick his flowers in this circumstance, and I don't hate him. I don't hate him.
I know exactly.
But do you not see a little bit of like the hypocrisy from the? Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah man. Yeah. Like here's the thing: you can't play both sides of the fields when it's convenient. And look, I don't hate him. I don't have any beef with him. I like a lot of the points he's making here. I'm just objectively speaking as somebody in the middle. You can't take out the good and when you want
silence to. Liberal. Don't speak about.
Is that not a hypocritical statement?
I definitely that's a good take by you. Okay. That's a great take. I agree.
Charlie Kirk, on the other hand, this is somebody who is my mortal enemy, who he was actively trying to suppress my career, ruin my life, all these things. He got shot by a political partisan. He wouldn't debate me, but he would debate the type of person that murdered him.
Okay, and this cues us up for our next discussion, which is Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, TPUSA, and the surrounding hullabaloo and quote unquote, I don't like to use the term because it's a government term, conspiracy theories surrounding the whole incident. So we've covered this. We covered this the day it happened, I believe, did we not? I think that we did, or the Kirk assassination.
I think of the day after.
A day after, whatever. We were on the story. We actively covered the story. I think it was that day. I think
it could be.
I think
we've done a lot.
I'm just thinking of it because I remember you coming in the door and I was like, where were you when you found out that happened?
Okay, probably.
I don't know. Nate, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. My point is, it's a very interesting thing. And I watched the Alex Jones show. I watched InfoWars today, and I just want to paint a picture with you guys, and also want to ask Tim some hypothetical and just straightforward questions here. Just examining this whole political system. So you have kind of like the boomer chudlet MAGA base, right? And that's the overarching thing. Those are the people that subscribe to the Benny Johnson stuff and whatnot. That's like that's a solid majority of the base, is like the older boomer, whatever. We'll call it 50%. Then you have another then you have three other groups. You have people like my dad who are kind of like, I would call it, just red pill, right? Like there's something beyond all this you don't understand, but still kind of pro-Trump.
Taking the lines.
Yeah, but still, raising and asking questions. Then you have the Fuentes group, the Groyper group, and they're asking questions. They're very unhappy about the Trump administration, the Trump campaign. However, they believe, for the most part, the official story relating to Tyler Robinson and Charlie Kirk. And those people are opposed to that other third group, which I haven't named, the Candace Owens group. Right. And those people, they believe just about everything. And it's a crazy wide spectrum of what they believe. And it's a point of like, I understand the divides between the conservative little like factions and echo chambers very well. At least I thought I did. I can no longer tell the difference between a Groyper and a Candace person. Ooh. Other than the fact that they don't agree on like these specific narratives. Yeah. Like they're the same, but they're the same, but they're different on that one issue. So that makes them like, you can't, besides that one thing, you can't distinguish them from the other. I can't predict now who's going to be pro Candace, anti Nick, anti TP USA, or pro Nick, anti Candace.
No,
I can't call it anymore.
I agree with you. Where you're going? Hey, New Groyper, you're now a Candace supporter. No.
Well, no, we're not gonna run a fade. First of all, I'm tired tonight. Number two is like, what am I saying? What am I saying that's wrong?
Oh my god!
Like you guys, you hate Candace. You think that she's like insane and cuckoo, or like bought off by the state, or both. And then like Candace hates Nick and the Groypers and did that hit piece interview on him. Like I get it, but I also don't. I guess like it's just.
No, as a person who's looking on the outside, who's not part of like any of these fractions,
it confuses me.
Like, guys, I don't exist in this world. Like, I'm the outside person. The thing I had about Candace prior to is I thought she was a well-informed person. I used to love some of the context that she had, because she was very like objective and logical. Now she's turning into like some conspiracy theorist, like woo crazy.
It's a sensitive term. That's like the internet N-word, basically. Call people that offended.
I'll put it out there. Okay. I mean, here's the thing. There's some of the things may make sense. Who?
Fifi's feelings hurt.
Oh, well, here's the thing. It's just when you state facts with like half-baked information.
No, I get it.
There's nothing else. Like now that may be a polarized, like extreme word.
It's just,
but there's no other word I can find for it.
It's so weird because I'll see Nick Fuentes like defending her and defending TP USA. And then I'll see like a left-wing show like Due Dissidents, and they're like, look, like Candace wouldn't say this if she didn't have like the stone cold like nuts, as they say in poker, like the winning hand, like the truth, right? But it's so weird on so many different ideological levels. Obviously, like I don't believe the official story. I don't believe a bullet got lodged in his neck. I think that's insane. A 30-06, much bigger than this thing right here, gets stuck in the guy's neck because he's a man of steel and whatnot. Obviously, that's not true. But the stuff Candace Owens was saying about like the Egyptian planes and whatnot, apparently that's been disproven. That was used to call Erica Kirk into question. I don't like the read on her anyway, but I'm not going to make any claim about an event like say that she knew or orchestrated like the death of her husband.
Hey, what about the Super Mario? You came up from the little sewer with the
360 no scope blindfolded shot. And the IDF's top soldier dropped in from fucking 3,000 feet in the air and shot him in the air and used like a Fortnite explosion bomb to like bounce
it's just
around.
I can't describe it any other way than a conspiracy.
Well, I mean, conspiracy is fine. Conspiracy theory is
it not a theory though?
Well, I take
all of
this
that.
is why the CIA came up with
all of that in its actual objective context is a theory. None of these things are matter of fact.
Yes, and then as New Groiper saying, Candace apparently recanted. We have that. I believe we have the clip. But getting into it, so like we covered this, and they're like diametrically opposed to each other. Candace Owens, TPUSA, saying all sorts of things and whatnot. And I know I need to read it, and I know we need to discuss it. But another show I watched, the Jimmy Dore show. Jimmy Dore basically 100% bought in on this. And it's to a point now where I'm seeing people talk about events, and it's not because I want to censor them that I have this feeling or this emotion, but I'm like, we got sued for saying a lot less than what these people are saying.
Who was in charge at that point?
Well, I get that, and I hear that, but you hear what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I get
like it boggles my mind. And just a quick anecdote, like Jimmy Dore was talking about the Australia shooting, like just like repeating like false flag, false flag, false flag. I agree. It should be questioned. It's probably a green flag operation. Like they let it happen at some degree or some level of like planned incompetence. But saying shit like that can lose you a lot of money.
Hey, look,
and like
Macron's wife is a transgender.
Maybe that's true. You know, like Candace Owens isn't paying for that yet. You know, so who knows, man. But anyway,
well, she's black, so she gets a pass, man.
Well, if anyone that voted for Biden is black, actually. If I just voted for Biden, I could be black. Candace Owens and Erica Kirk hold productive private meeting after feud. Oh, it's a feud. It's a fight. It's not like you work for Israel, and the other person is like, you are a devil spreading lies. How dare you? And then now they're all fine. It is what it is. That's the weird thing where they always come together and they move on, which appears to have happened. The meeting came amid Owens' public questions about September 10th assassination of Charlie Kirk, where authorities say lone gunman, always lone gunman, Tyler Robinson fired from a rooftop. Owens raised theories of a cover-up, including possible insider roles and suspicious details, while Kirk defended her quick appointment as TPUSA CEO per her husband's wishes and asked for peace amid family threats. Both women reported agreeing on more than expected, with Owens promising a full account and Kirk signaling de-escalation, though no evidence supports the theories and divisions linger. I mean, like, why would you do this, right? All right, so number one, you're telling the truth, right? And like you have some proof that the organization or the people involved or her herself, they're all implicated in this. And you're a truth teller, you're angry, you tell the truth. Number two, you tell a lie for like money or popularity, but why do you do that? Because when you prove that you're a liar, you lose all that anyway. Maybe it's a quick riff.
Here's what I think it is.
Number three, she's insane.
No, here's what I think it is. I think she puts too much weight on her quote unquote sources. And there's a lot of people that talk in the background. Now, some of it is like very like tantalizing, great for media. Go get it, go say it out there. That way a lot of people watch. But then also you got to understand, like fundamentally, she has people that she talks to on a regular basis. And, you know, you tell me a fact, I'm not always fact checking you.
Right.
I'm just kind of like,
well, I'm always correct.
I'm taking you as a matter of fact. And it's very easy when somebody has authority, right? Like take an example for a doctor, not to get us to the weeds here, but if you look at a doctor objectively, you trust everything the doctor says because fundamentally he went through courses and he did an entire study as well as practice this.
Speak for yourself.
But here's the thing.
I'm joking.
Fundamentally, doctors can get things wrong all the time as far as diagnosing things. But because of the mere fact of the authority factor, it kind of like you just like you get rid of the probability that he could be wrong in that situation. So I think it's partly of that.
Well, I mean, I just it's horrible for your credibility. It's horrible for your audience. But ultimately, you know, like this would be a great bellwether to see how much air there's left in the grift balloon. Because if she just moves on, like everything's fine. And like there's two ways I could see this happening. One, she does that, and that'll be super weird, and she'll either retain her fan base because everyone's vapid, no one's smart, or B, people will be smart enough to move on from her. Or the other alternative is that she like they threatened me in secret 2 weeks ago, and I planned my entire comeback to them. This is all the new data and information. I'm just getting started. And like those are the two roads that we go on from here, right? Like there's no third alternative. And just like look at your face. Like you can kind of tell she's up to no good.
Did she say something here? Let's play this real quick.
This is her statement, I believe, that New Gripper was referring to. Do we trust? I don't know if we trust.
They were sort of most upset with what obviously a bit of a fever pitch, what I tweeted, that it was a godforsaken company and people should not give money to it.
So it's all cute now, right? Like it's cute. It's funny. And see, she's smiling about, what's that facial expression?
It's I know I fucked up.
Right.
But
yeah,
like,
that's what I was gonna say.
But you should still like
buy
me.
my book. Please buy my memoir.
And I have to own that. That's aggressive. That is actually aggressive in the retrospect. I was very frustrated.
Well, you're leading people on.
I don't know. I felt like we weren't getting any answers.
People got excited about wanting to crash out.
And
now you're telling them not to crash out.
All right, we'll get through this, and I have something to say on all of this.
And there were so many lies, and then I was getting attacked for asking all meaningful questions that was within their capacity to answer. And I told you, I definitely, my problem in life is that I can rise to anger very quickly.
Okay.
I shared with them that I really felt like I was under attack for telling the truth from the very beginning, like casually when I mentioned the Catholicism thing. Like, what was that about? I was like, look, I say something in a tribute to him. Alex Clark and Andrew Colvett then jump onto a podcast and they're doing that weird interview, which is clearly they were.
I don't care about any of these people, but Tim, you have a high level take. What's your take?
High level take. The main problem I have with media, she has literally wrapped it up in a bow and has presented it for the world to see in exactly what I have
once.
For what I have been trying to make clear to everybody who watches our show or in general, right?
Yeah.
I have these conversations with other people. People who have the ability to speak very well on camera, have an audience.
Mm-hmm.
They are not careful enough of what they say in a heat of the moment. She just said specifically, I was angry, I was feeling emotional. Now she put it out there. How many people, Rex, out of the millions, do you think truly believed what she said in that moment and ran with it?
A lot. Most still do.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Right. So there are some people that may have not even watch this video, but the butterfly effect in the game of telephone has already occurred to where other people have posted this.
Yeah, this video doesn't matter. It's at a point now where people be like, oh, well, they got to her now. And it's on to the next thing. And, I just had the thought as you're saying it, like, wouldn't this be the ultimate thing you do to discredit and just kind of walk away from, ultimately a very mysterious shooting and assassination event with Charlie Kirk? And you have this lady come out and go, it's crazy as fuck. And I know it all. And I have it all here. And then she's discredited. And then everyone goes, okay, I guess it really is just a lone gunman. And move on, right? And that's what I think about.
Yes, but then people don't, like, you're not taking into account that a lot of these entities literally have to do nothing and let it just go however it's going to go.
I agree with you.
So
but
fundamentally, they're not. I see what you're saying.
I think they're being proactive. She's definitely some sort of op, like of some kind. Like her story and everything is just too weird. And it's so odd because you have a right-wing person that's a fan of her, and then a right-wing person that's a fan of Nick, and then a right-wing person that's a fan of my dad. And those are three very different groups of people. But they agree on most everything. But the thing that makes them different is like a fundamental, it's a conspiracy issue. It's like you say.
Yeah. And so what I'm trying to say relative to this and why I can agree with you, where Candace and Nick are similar to each other or the same, is they have the ability to be tantalizing the way they talk. And they're not always giving you the factoids that are the truth, and they just kind of run with it. And those are dangerous moments. That's literally, if I could pinpoint where my issue is with not just Fuentes, not just with Candace Owens, I'll even throw Pierce in there. I'll throw a lot of other people. They will say things with conviction, like I'm talking to you right now in the audience, and they'll tell you something is true. And then there's enough people that go to believe it, and you get enough of that. It's very hard to actually piece what the truth is, because what ends up happening is there's a butterfly effect. somebody hears that, somebody might go and research, and then they're moved in the wrong direction to be looking at the wrong things. Articles come out, and then it's just a whole pile of slop that has been built off of.
I think it's deliberate misdirection to prevent anything serious from being done. I think we agree on that, right?
But when you say deliberate,
the slop,
well, yeah, but I'm saying fundamentally, like, I don't think like Nick or Candace is like fundamentally being like super controlled by the deep state. I just think there's an ignorance around some of the perspectives that they have on certain points without diving deep enough.
It makes no sense for her to hold this position, though. It makes zero sense at all. Like, she made this her brand this year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's caused growth. I think that's really fundamentally what it comes down to in the driving factor.
It's viewer capitalism.
Yes, I'm trying to say, when you say these things and when you have such
commodified attention,
yes, exactly, and your base is going to grow and grow with the people who like that stuff and are like latching on to the different ideas, and you can build a platform. It's not only for money, but there's a reputation and money that comes with it that I fundamentally cannot subscribe with. As I'm now doing these shows, and we're talking about why I take the time to go and look and do the research before I give you guys something, because I won't make a super hot take that I can't stand behind.
Okay.
That's the whole thing. But people in the heat of the flow, in the savant of being able to talk on camera, they'll just be like, all right, I'm just going to throw this thing out there and it'll stick. And she's admitting it now. She's admitting it now. And she's saying, look, I was wrong about this. But here's the thing. There are so many circumstances where that doesn't happen and where somebody has fact-checked that person enough.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I understand the critique. I mean, she is kind of like, she's just tee-heeing about it, right? Like, oopsie, like, I don't have to be correct all the time.
But how many times do you think she's said stuff like this where she hasn't done that? And I'll throw Fuentes in there. Sorry, New Groiper. He's done the same thing.
Well, I mean, I would raise that to everyone. Right, like every single person you could point to, like, including us. Definitely, at some point or some perspective, we've made a point to make a point, and not necessarily like just diarrhea of the mouth.
But but now, what I'm trying to tell you is, in this moment, as we're doing these things, I'm very conscious, and I take the time to research, and that's why I spend time preparing for shows, because I don't want to do that, and I don't think enough people are doing that on their shows in order to give people what they should objectively be hearing.
Okay,
that's where my piece lies.
I understand that. A big thing, a big no in just kind of like, I'll just say, conspiracy theory circle or whatever, is to like present false evidence, right? To say that, like, oh, something happened, we have this footage here or whatnot, and the footage doesn't actually exist, or it's exaggerated or whatnot. So Candace Owens said that these Egyptian like military planes, obviously for like Israel, right? Like, duh, right? Like that's the insinuation that's being made there.
Yep.
We're following Erica Kirk around, and that this was the smoking gun, and that this is where they were going to get everybody. And apparently someone came out. It's a very highly produced video, so you can say, oh, it's the other side trying to cover it up for their lies that Candace Owens caught him in. But with Candace Owens apologizing and kind of walking things back, I don't think you can honestly make that argument. Like, it doesn't make sense. But I think we've got it. And, if anyone's watching the Alex Jones show today, the Alex Jones show was very entertaining today. And I disagree with him on a lot.
I like the military outfit.
And you like the camo?
Yeah.
We're in a war. Is why we're
public data, 66% incorrect. And we're just correcting it. And if that's what other people put out before, because I saw it before she picked it up like 2 weeks before, months before, Egyptian planes and all this stuff, shadowing Erica Kirk and, all of this. And this is kind of the center of all the stuff. And I've investigated it all, and none of it pans out. He's not saying there isn't some FBI cover-up of leftist accomplices, which we know they've done.
In real life.
And decoy saying, I shot Kirk so the bad guy could get away. And then you see the reported shooter who's confessed in court. He's all smiling, laughing with his trans tie on. Oh, he's such a sweet young man from photos. Now you see it. How's it going to look when this trial happens and there's all the witnesses and all the video of him saying he did it and everything? So I don't do this to attack Candace. This is just one piece. And since even before they saw this, they've gone and reverse engineered it and gone and got all the real flight logs, integrated with the public logs. And I was told they were going to be presenting this to Candace Owens yesterday in that 4.5 hour meeting. That's why she came out and said, oh, I feel really good now. Yeah. And they presented her a bunch of the points that have been said with the facts, with the documents, like this. Did you know TPUSA was audited? Did you know there were federal investigations? This is exclusive stuff. Oh, no. Well, here they are. We're clean. You think we do something corrupt? You know, all money stolen, all this. Don't give your money to them. That's probably the worst thing she did, just off rumors on the internet. Oh, Charlie didn't know what was going on money-wise. Charlie was in complete control of everything. They were knocking on doors. They were getting millions of kids to go vote. They did a great job. We need them to win the midterms. We need them to continue the good people in the cabinet that are there with Trump. So here's the whole 11-minute report, and you can go get these flight logs yourself. TPUSA has gone and done this. The public ones, but you can pay more and get even more data. But even off the public data, 66% incorrect. And we're just correcting it. And if that's not right, Candace, you could just disprove it. But Candace is like, oh, I had a great meeting now. I bet you did. Because they had all the points and all the data and all the stuff. So we need to move forward and find out the 10 accomplices that said Charlie will be dead tomorrow. The FBI, we now know, did interview. That's exclusive. And Cash Patel doesn't want to indict them. Why? Because they don't want to make it a left-wing thing. They want to limit it, just like they're now blaming his own FBI, J6 pipe bomber, being a Republican, and even high-level FBI agents are blowing the whistle saying the guy's autistic. It's a setup. The metadata doesn't even set up. Now, there's a problem with the FBI. We don't know exactly what they're covering up, but there's a cover-up. So I agree with Candace in questioning things.
Damn,
it's just
you can talk.
TPUSA, the Army, the French, the Egyptians, the Israelis, they're all involved. Oh, just asking questions. Well, that's all we're doing and giving answers. Here's the report.
Okay. Finally.
On September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at Utah Valley University. Police say they have the shooter. There is a confession, DNA, and a recovered weapon. His name is Tyler Robinson. His parents identified him from FBI photos and helped turn him in. But online, a very different story has taken hold. A story claiming this wasn't a lone gunman, but a coordinated multinational operation involving Egypt, Israel, France, the United States, federal agencies, TPUSA executives, Bridget Macron, and even French legionnaires. And at the center of it all are two planes. Candace Owens has told millions of people that two Egyptian military aircraft, SU-BTT and SU-BND, tracked Erica Kirk's movements 73 times over 3 years.
Between 2022 and September of 2025, both of those aircrafts, SU-BTT, the yellow plane, and SU-BND, the blue plane, showed.
Look at how much conviction she's talking.
Yeah, dude. It's like she told everyone this shit.
Like a straight face. Like it could have just taken her like 30 minutes to just spend some time.
Right.
Really just determining
whether
that was the truth.
I mean, I'm sure she believed it. Maybe she still does. We don't know. Maybe at TPUSA they had the meeting and they hit her with like the nerve gas or whatever, and she goes out and put like a worm in her brain to, like control her, right? Like Animorphs or something. Like I could see that maybe, but like this is. I tried to pause it and then play it again to find a different facial expression. And she's like beaming at the audience, like this is true. Like this is what I believe.
CIA
8 overlaps with Erica's documented location.
That's a great point. What the fuck is that? Come on, man. This is like Tucker's like, I wear a red bracelet. I wear a red bracelet. I don't know anything about it. It's like a Jewish like Kabbalah thing or whatever. But
I don't know.
One for years. I don't know what it is.
Who's calling her the next Ben Shapiro? I'm not calling.
She's definitely not the next. We don't see all the chats. It's a problem.
No, I'm saying no. He's the Crayson said somebody else. Like people have been saying that she's the next Ben Shapiro. I don't.
Well, I mean, she left Daily Wire, and she's probably bigger than them now. Like they're
going down, bro.
Yeah, like we probably get more viewers than they do. At least at the beginning of the stream.
Patients, okay, 68 overlaps. I have since been able to add now 73 times that this overlapped. Okay. And 29 of those instances also happened to include Charlie. I am telling you this information has been completely verified. I am showing you this on a spreadsheet.
Okay, I am telling you the information has been completely verified.
Conviction.
Well, apparently not.
Conviction, spreadsheet, data.
Well, it's like we can't zoom in on this shit.
Now, these are all the instances in which this plane, 68 instances that this plane crossed with Erica.
She says the odds of this happening.
But then again, who is this guy?
Less than a 0.000000001
conviction
% probability. Okay, under random distribution models, that these Egyptian planes coincidentally landed around Erica at these times.
In her words, the Egyptian planes hold the key.
The Egyptian planes hold the key, and that is obvious. Maybe these planes might be the key to everything. They hold the key to solving Charlie's assassination.
Egypt to Israel to France, the United States to TPUSA to Charlie's murder. This entire web rests on one claim, that these 2 Egyptian planes tracked Erica Kirk 73 times. To support it, Candace said she used Flight Radar 24 and showed a spreadsheet on her screen. I screenshotted that spreadsheet and rebuilt it line by line. She says she verified
Paris, Omaha, Cairo, Nebraska.
We're gonna get accusations.
Paris, Wichita.
Counter signaling Candace Owens. And I was like, here's the thing. You create a spreadsheet and you're like, believe it. And you're like, okay, we believe it. And then someone else comes out and disproves the spreadsheet. Their disapproval of the spreadsheet and their new analysis holds just as much weight as you initially releasing the thing. Is because, like, we don't know what this is, right?
Bro, I'm telling you.
Can you read this?
This is why I don't fully blame her. There was somebody who made this for her, and she just took it.
No,
and
she did it herself. She's smart.
And she took it. And then there was some other guy that's in the background producing. I was like, here's the thing. Oh, this is great. This is phenomenal. We got to present this to the audience.
Fuentes makes the argument that that's her husband. It's all these people are so fucking weird, man. Well, at the end of the day, like, it's just like, what the fuck?
Everything using Flight Radar 24. So I did exactly what she claimed she did. I bought the Flight Radar 24 business subscription, the same one she says she used. Then I went further. I purchased a $950 3-year flight log from FlightAware to independently verify every entry. When you compare what the planes are actually doing to what Candace claims they did, the results aren't close. 66% of her location claims are wrong. And in 60% of the cases, the aircraft is on an entirely different continent.
Well, some of them are right. Some of them are right. That means it's all true.
It looks like
she has devoted much of her life.
That's funny. That's funny.
That's 21
funny. Did you come up with that?
Yeah, I said.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
To tying Charlie Kirk's murder to an international conspiracy centered on these 2 aircraft.
Egyptian planes, Egyptian military planes, Egyptian planes, Egyptian planes.
The CIA cup is crazy, though. Like isn't that insane? Isn't that wild?
Military planes, Egyptian planes, Egyptian military plane, Egyptian planes, Egyptian plane, Egyptian planes, Egyptian planes, Egyptian military planes, Egyptian planes.
Candace claimed a source contacted her DIA hotline, alleging Egyptian passengers were escorted off one of the planes in Wilmington, Delaware by federal agents into a building housing the FBI, DOJ, DHS, and Secret Service. She presented this as evidence of U.S. government collusion.
I think we just want to know what he did wrong, okay? Because that email, that checks out. Yeah. Secret Service, the FBI, the DEA being involved, why this plane, the quote unquote Egyptian plane, landed into Wilmington, that checks out.
She publicly questioned Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, and Joe Kent, suggesting they knew about this conspiracy and were covering it up.
I think we know why Kash Patel is out, right? I mean, I read this, checked it, verified it, and
she does all.
I just want to know why, Charlie. I want to know why.
And I was thinking to myself in this moment, I have gotten myself really far down this road. And I'm not really sure how to stop now. And I keep thinking about it and I go, I married a British royal dude who's worth like $150 million. Why am I doing this?
Dude, it's sad because I don't even hate Candace. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, even beyond all of this, like, I still fundamentally like her as a person, But I just can't get behind these actions, the specifics.
I think I have really good analysis on this event, and I care about the Charlie Kirk thing. Just to say that before I say what also my other statement. I don't care about this at all. I don't care about her. I don't really care about Erica Kirk, beside it being sad and whatever. I don't really care about Turning Point. I don't really care about any of it. So I look at all these people and I'm like, y'all are all like glow in the dark. Like all of you are super weird.
Well, and think about it this way, bro. I'm kind of with you on this.
Right.
Let's say we figure out and piece the freaking puzzle, right? And we get like the most perfect picture of this particular circumstance that they have spent hours and hours and hours of time talking. Does it fundamentally change your my life?
No, not at all. And you know, like, why would you? And why would you ever like? They already have the perfect narrative, like, the guy who liked the trans killed the Charlie Kirk because the Charlie Kirk didn't like the trans, and therefore XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And this is why I point at her and I'm like, look, if you're trying to discredit an alternative theory as to what happened, like, you couldn't do a better job.
Guys, I'm telling you guys right now, and everybody who's witnessed, if we ever get to the point where rather than just reporting on the things, talking about it, and then kind of giving you guys the factoids, and we just run off the rails and just go about talking about other things and trying to piece together things. Somebody call me out. Just send me a DM. Just be like, you're becoming a Candace.
Well, send us our 7,000 from Israel.
You know,
because if we sell out, that'll be the first.
I hate doing this type of thing, and I hate seeing it where like people, rather than just go, all right, we report on it, we've seen it, this is the thing. Okay, now we have to go and like do a deeper dive and draw these conclusions and spend a lot of time doing these things when the world is still going on.
My audience is going to have questions. What do I need to come up with next? Like, it's like, the
decision was made to murder Charlie Kirk. A decision.
And like, she says it in like the most like seductive way, like, a decision was made to murder Charlie Kirk. It's very, very like the tone. It's very like she knows, right? And this is why, like you say, it's such a big deal. It's like people believe this, right? Because she conveys that authority,
and that very clearly had to be approved by Charlie's friends.
She suggested TPUSA knew about the plans and tried to kill the story.
There are good guys everywhere. You know, lightness is always fighting darkness. And I received an interesting tip from a Fed that I'm going to share with you.
Likeness is always fighting darkness. Great Freudian slip. That's a fucking classic. I'm going to tweet that one out. She said likeness is always fighting darkness. Like two things, like the lesser of all evils, like, two wolves type of thing.
Now that might be relevant, but Turning Point USA put in a personal request to try to get the Egyptian plane story killed, you know, and I find that to be very interesting. What is it about these Egyptian planes that Turning Point USA didn't want them to be discussed?
Dude, she talks.
I don't know. But I am going to find out. I think we kind of have found out in a weird, really effed up way, actually. It makes my stomach turn.
You know what I want to know?
What do you want to know?
American?
What do you want to know?
I don't care about how Egyptian collusion and that stuff. What I want to know is, how am I getting screwed over on my day-to-day? How am I, like, why is my gas prices going up for this particular thing? What are we doing? Who's being bought out?
Well,
how can we attack those people to go? Like, that's a smoke screen.
Right.
This is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit.
It is a distraction.
It makes me so frustrated. Like, why are we spending time? Like, and people will sit up here and be like, oh, you're trying to distract from the fact of what's going on.
It's all true. It's all real.
You're drinking that CIA cup because they paid you to come on air and say this thing so that
the CIA cup is fucking crazy. All right. There's no defending that. All right.
I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna spend time doing research, if we're gonna spend time getting spreadsheets,
that'd be pretty funny.
But I'm saying, if we're gonna spend time getting spreadsheets, we're gonna spend time doing all these travel logs. Why don't we just do it on the important shit? Why don't we just do it on the things that actually fundamentally change the way that the average person survives? Because at the end of the day, the single mom with 4 children does not give a shit whether a plane was following a multimillionaire.
Well, I mean, you're infringing on their grift right now. That's the thing, is like, you talk about speculative things that ultimately don't impact people's day to day. It's a great way to keep them engaged because it's a distraction, right? Whereas if you talk about the things that are actually affecting people, it can become quite painful very quickly, right?
I'd rather rip the Band-Aid off. Though,
well, I hear, but it's just basically like market psychology of getting people to watch you, right? I think that's where we agree on all this. Like it's a viewer botting tactic, but organic.
Now, would you sell your soul like that to just do the thing for viewership?
It's not even selling your soul. It's like jumping off a roof for no reason. Like it's even if you get to momentarily experience the feeling of weightlessness, you're gonna fucking die. Right.
Yeah, it always comes back because you were so right about this. Oh my God, that was a really good point. Because fundamentally, you look at Candace Owens, and let's say you're a business owner who has like some very successful thing going on, and fundamentally, like she could fit within the organization, and you could do a business plan. You see her doing this stuff, you're going to think twice, right, about taking her on as a business partner now, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely just anything like that's like I'm relying on like the dreams that I had to interpret reality and whatnot, like anything like that. And it's like, okay, well, like this isn't going to work out. But it's interesting that she can be as crazy as hell, and then one meeting with Erica Kirk, and then everything's fine. And that's where I go, like, it's just all a psyop because none of it means anything. It's literally, they've turned a man's death into slop.
Good point.
Like seriously.
That's so true.
They turn the death of a guy into a fundraising engine. They turn the death of a guy into a revenue machine. They turn the death of a guy into a story that would never die, and therefore an organization that would never die as well. Because, of course, we must honor Charlie's legacy by having TP USA. And I get that, and I hear that, and that makes sense to me. But it's like you're saying, like, they're not anymore. They don't have to make a factual argument about why they deserve to exist and why people need to donate. Then you go, Charlie Kirk died September 10th. They'll do that 10 years into the future, and they'll still be raking it in. And
there'll be more commentary on it.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying they're profit motivated, and like Candace said, like they killed him so they get the money. I'm not making that argument, but like this is how the world works, right? And like to say it's not how the world works, like this, they have now ended up in a very advantageous situation, in my opinion, not because of his death, but like because of the aftermath of it.
Yeah, you're getting eyeballs. You're getting the
it's a thing where people
engage.
They can never criticize you, right? Because you go, no, the guy died and it was sad, and therefore you can't criticize. It's the same thing. Whereas like, and I'm not, and this is how powerful of a genjutsu spell all this is that I literally have to go, I disavow past remarks. This is all speculation. This is me having a thought experiment, hypothetical. The stuff my dad said about Sandy Hook, right? And then you go like, okay, so if Candace says this stuff about this organization, why hasn't she been sued? When their narrative about the thing is person died, therefore this is the saddest event ever, therefore we can never be criticized.
Well, the reason why, and I'll tell you, it's who is behind the death and the grief itself. You had in that scenario a bunch of people who didn't have any money that probably tried to do a lawsuit on a liberal left leaning. I'm not trying to get disavowed here, but
I understand what you're saying. These people, they sued Remington and they got $71 million.
No.
Like they're not broke.
No. I'm saying broke, not from like they wanted. Whether they didn't know if they were gonna win that one necessarily. I'm saying they wanted to go after anything that could give them a payday.
I guess. I mean, but wouldn't you say the same thing's true about Turning Point? Like Candace is worth a ton of money.
No, I know that, but I'm saying fundamentally though, the way they operate is fundamentally different than just an average family that just wants to like.
I disagree.
Who can get talked into that?
I disagree
and I think Erica's more right leaning. She probably has a different way to go about that. I mean,
my point is that you have the best story on earth. Like, God forbid if something horrible like this happens to you, like you're a family mass shooting survivor, or like your husband dies in a political assassination. You now have essentially like an infinite debit card of political capital where you can go back to that thing and you can go, okay, anyone criticizing me or the situation or anything involved in it, you are it's child abuse. It's XYZ. It's the worst thing imaginable.
No, but right? I'm saying the only difference is who's behind the grief and who's going through the situation is why your dad got sued and why she
your argument would be that Erica Kirk isn't a normal person then, because if Erica Kirk's a normal person, then she has the same response, right? Are you saying she's corporate?
Yeah, I'm saying because also think about it. Candace is also somewhat tied to Turning Point USA in some form or fashion.
Okay.
That's why she was able to get those text messages. That's why she's able to talk to some of the co-hosts that are on that show. Like, it's not somebody random that's like,
why do you make up that it's all fine if you're actually super angry about it? Because that's my issue with the whole thing, right? Is that like they've had this meeting now and it's been deemed to be okay.
Because I think fundamentally, if she were to just go and like, I think her ideology is probably different, where she's not going to go sue for $1 billion.
I disagree.
I think there's something happening behind the scenes.
You really, you're a believer in the fact that like she's normal, and despite everything Candace has said, everything I've asked Erica Kirk. I don't
think she's normal. I think she has alternative, more important things that she's probably focused on, rather than getting a payday off of something like this.
You see it as like it's a giant mess, and they both meet and they go, look, like you really fucked things up.
Yeah, and also there's a cost benefit analysis that's there for like, okay, you're gonna go sue, put all that effort in when you've got other things going on. Those families that sued your dad didn't really have a whole lot going on, and were easily able to just ask.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a topic for another time, but you had a topic you really wanted to get into, right?
Yeah, I want to talk about EVs.
All right,
not to get off the bandwidth, guys, but the reason why I want to talk about this is because political commentary is one thing, talking about Kirk, talking about Fuentes and all these things. And Linda said something very funny here. She said it's like all like a celebrity gossip in supermarket tabloids. That's why I bring these things into the play, because these things are things that can actually impact you, me, all of us in the future. So specifically what's happening here with the EV market, you're going to see here that Europe, specifically Germany and Italy, have now repositioned themselves when it comes to thinking about EVs. Like, they wanted to have, I think by 2035 or something,
it's like 95%
complete ban on like petrol and gasoline vehicles, and go completely EV or some alternative. And now they're walking that back based off of the circumstances that are happening. So let's go ahead and play this. That way we
video?
can kinda,
all right, I got you. No.
Our next story is about electric cars. For years, they've been touted as the future of transport. For years, governments have pushed for them and car makers have promised them. But now many of them are going slow because the economic reality is setting in. Take Europe, for example. Europe had set a hard deadline, 2035. Ban all petrol and diesel cars by 2035. That's what Europe had decided 2 years back.
Mm-hmm.
It was part of their flagship Green Deal. The idea was to achieve zero emissions, move away from petrol and diesel cars, and shift to electric vehicles completely. But now there's a rethink. Europe may soften the ban on petrol and diesel cars. What does that mean? What is softening a ban? Instead of cutting emissions to zero, car makers may have to cut them by 90%.
Yep.
And what happens to the remaining 10%? This is to allow some petrol and hybrid vehicles on the road, even after 2035. That's the 10% allowance. Now, Germany and Italy pushed for this change more than anyone else. They're home to some of Europe's biggest car makers like Volkswagen, BMW, Stellantis, and Renault. And here's why they want to go easy on the ban. There are multiple reasons, in fact. The first reason is consumer demand. European automakers say people are not buying electric cars fast enough.
Pause it here.
I want to do a video
and for
really
very
quick.
practical.
I want to do a video where you have like Gorlock or someone, and then you have like a foreign like political leader. You're like, do you know who this is? Like, oh, that's Gorlock the Destroyer from Snapchat. I know who that is. And then like they don't know like who the German chancellor, like the head of.
Well, we don't. I mean, fundamentally, I don't know who people in parliament are in specific.
Moment of honesty here.
No, I'm saying like specifically like to every country.
I hear you.
I know the main guys.
Me too,
like
and I hear
the ones, and everybody knows who America's is, but like some of these other countries, I'm not spending the time really like looking into who's running their country at that specific moment.
But like this, getting back to your story, this was the thing that they were saying, like, all of Biden basically is like, get ready, like the EVs are here. This is why like Trump and Elon, one of their big beefs was that Trump got rid of the EV subsidy.
Yeah.
Right?
So the reason why this is, here's the thing. It started with Europe, and actually it started with also United States as well. Trump has walked back a lot of the things that we're talking about here with EVs, and Biden had the intention of by like also 2030 something for us to like completely transition, which they, by the time they ended towards the end of the administration, I think they walked back some of those things, realizing it fundamentally wasn't possible. But bad. Just to give you guys a understanding of like what is happening in the EV market specifically, there are things that are drying up the demand for EVs because it was a hype thing. Fundamentally, I think EVs still have a ways to go. I think the thing we're seeing here is a slowdown, not an ending of the system.
Right. And the thing is like I look at it, and I think I look at it from a very average perspective of being like, okay, well, like maybe it would make sense to have one if it was cheap, if it was a cheaper alternative.
Oh, perfect. Right? So you literally just got to the first point that I want to mention here. So the sticker shock, right? For a sedan versus like the electric sedan versus the EV sedan, the price difference is about $7,000. But that's not really where the major consumer is for America specifically. We all want those compact SUVs. Now, with a compact SUV, if you buy an electric vehicle, it could cost you somewhere around $53,000, $54,000. For gas, it's only going to cost you about $35,000, which is about an $18,000.
Right, and that's new.
That's like a whole car difference, right? And then you're also looking at the EV battery is what's making up a majority of that cost. So that's because of that's because of the fact that we haven't gotten to the technology to be able to make these things cost effective. And you say price, that's why I say a slowdown, because eventually the technology will catch up with the specific thing that they're trying to integrate.
Right. Well, you know, I like the thing with the electric cars. They go, oh, it's cleaner. They don't burn the gas, so it doesn't need to da 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 da. And the thing needed, the amount of energy needed to power it would like light up an entire neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean that is
like
part.
People like the electricity comes from the green. It comes from the water and the windmills. Like, no, they burn coal and that turbine fucking turns, dude.
Until we find a renewable source that actually can replace the power that's being done by the gas and
like
oil and coal.
Energy.
Not in my backyard.
Not my house.
You ain't gonna put that in my
nuclear
backyard.
energy. Yeah,
I ain't gonna get that Chernobyl.
Nuclear. I hardly know her.
Chernobyl in my backyard. No. So yes, that is one of the things. Is the energy cost is one of the things that has allowed people to be like, okay, I'm not sure we're going to do that. And also depending on where you live, by the way, that can make a big deal too. So like a place like California might charge differently as far as the wattage versus like a place in Louisiana or really Hawaii versus Louisiana. Like
you have a Cybertruck in the middle of Wyoming, like for like no reason.
Well,
like one place you can go charge it.
That is a big thing. Mississippi is actually the worst place to have an EV, guys. They have no infrastructure whatsoever. And then you look at California. California is the best place to have an EV where they have that. But I mean, fundamentally, until they can fix the battery technology to where it can charge as fast, or not even as fast, but just shorter of a time frame than what you're looking at for versus a gas, that's another thing that's preventing. Like that's what stopped me, honestly. I don't want to go on a long distance trip and have to spend an hour every single time that my battery dries up every 300 or 400 miles, and it extends my trip exponentially at that point.
Well, my question, I guess, to you would be like, how expensive is it to fill it up, quote unquote?
Yeah, let me. I actually
like that. That's something that I don't know.
Fundamentally, I can read because I do know. I did know.
Because like that seems to be the main thing, right? Like if filling it up is ultimately cheaper than the gas, then it does make sense from a perspective of buying it or looking into it. My thing is like if you took my truck and then you took a Tesla Model Y or something, You go, Model Y is faster, it's quiet, it drives itself, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. But if you do a coast-to-coast race in one of those things, the gas-powered truck is going to beat it every single time because it has to stop and charge.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas I can get 5 minutes, I have a full tank.
No, I mean, electricity is cheaper than gas.
Okay.
As far as the cost. So, like, to give you an example, the cost per mile of like a EV is about 4 cents to 5 cents per mile.
Ooh,
so
okay.
let's say like you go 300 miles, you're probably going to spend somewhere between 11 to 13. You're going to spend a little around 11 to $13 for about 300 miles. You take the same amount for a fast charger. It actually goes up from there.
Ooh, of course,
because you're gonna that this is home versus like if you're out. So home is about 11 to 13. If you go out to a fast charger, you're looking at somewhere around $26 to $38. And then for a gas car, you're looking at $35. So going out, fundamentally is very similar in terms of prices. But at home is where you save the cost because you're technically offsetting that, and they're not setting a premium for that.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So the thing about this whole issue is the tax credits were a big thing that drove this for us, right? Like Biden and the Democrats, I don't necessarily think this was a bad thing, to be honest, subsidizing and incentivizing people to get cars, because you could get like a $7,500 credit, guys, like where the government literally paid you.
You can get one of these cars
where
$8 grand off.
Where they pay you $7,500 to go ahead and get an EV, and it made economic sense at that point because they knew it was more expensive.
I'm old and I don't even like driving anymore. They say, Joe, this thing's that's self-driving. I go, self-driving. I did crack in the car with my son Hunter, and it was
fantastic.
We didn't threaten anyone on the road.
But you know, the thing about this is it all comes down to the technology, right?
And it's just not there.
Remember back in the day, and you and I are not that big of a difference in age, so you might remember this. Remember a flat screen TV that was about like this big?
Deal. Yeah.
That bitch would have cost you probably like $2,000,
right?
At one point, right? And
we didn't even get like a big nice TV until like 2012 or 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even if you wanted that big 80-inch, you're looking at least $4,000 for that puppy.
More. Yeah, no, right? I agree.
And that was because of the technology that was being developed at the time was super expensive to go the cost to go into those components. So the same thing is happening now. Like, look, I went into Walmart literally like 2 days ago, and I saw an 80-inch 4K OLED display or something, and it was like $400.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, because it's available, and they figured out that wrinkle, and that's what you see. And as I'm sure you're going to talk about with a lot of the Chinese vehicles, is like it's crazy. It's crazy what they can do. And like, look at that. Look at like Huawei, for example. You go, well, we keep this Chinese spy technology out of our country, but it's also because we can't compete with a lot of it because a lot of it's really fucking good and really cheap.
Yeah, and we've put tariffs on China, and you're hitting on
Can I show this
point. Yeah, you can go ahead and show
cool.
This. So the thing about EVs, right? Okay, we know the technology is advancing, but now like fundamentally, EV is here to stay, guys. You're going to probably see 30, 40 years from now, it's going to happen. But now it comes down to who's producing the EV and where does it come from. This is one of the EVs that you can buy in China. This is a BYD. It's their SUV. I equate it to almost like a Range Rover.
That's pretty Land Rover, sick from what I can see.
And it looks like a Land Rover. It has super cool technology, and it can float, guys.
They're fucking, the water's close.
Because everything is airtight. And they made it specifically so it's buoyant. You tell me, average car right now for an electric vehicle in America, can it float and use its wheels as like machine? Look at it go.
That's insanely impressive. It looks
Doesn't
pretty clean.
Good? Doesn't it look good?
Yeah, it looks pretty clean.
Now
let's watch it again. Get out of the lake. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I would want that.
I would want that.
You know, that's pretty cool.
Now, fundamentally, they're not even the only EV company. You've got other EV companies that are out there like Xeon, I think is what it's called. Let's go ahead and show them.
Is this a BYD?
This is a BYD. Guys, the reason why you can't get a BYD or any Chinese car in America is specifically for one reason, is because we have strategically put 100% tariffs on EV vehicles, to where like if the Chinese were to even try to start selling them here, it would cost twice the amount than to the average consumer.
And that's the point of the tariff.
0 cents.
They can't compete in our economy.
So Biden was the one to enact that. Trump doubled down on it at the end of the day. And Rex is saying something that people use as a large argument, like, oh, it's China. They have spy technology. They could use this to spy on the Americans. One, that can already be discredited, because you can literally force things into law that create a sandbox in order for these cars to not transmit data specifically. And you can have
we're the only ones that can spy. Like that's what it comes down to.
Spying goes both ways. But here's the thing. This is a hot take though. Me as a regular Joe Schmo dude, just going about my life, if China has my data, I don't really care. They can't do anything about that with me. Well, I'm living here in America.
It's kind of the moot point of like the government already has it anyway.
Yeah.
So like it's like, the American government is so good, only they can like. And I get it. I don't want China to have my data, and that's ultimately why I wouldn't drive one of these cars or use one of the phones. But the point is like we put ourselves into such a hostile, negative environment. It's like we can never work with these people ever because they're the most evil thing on the planet, and whatnot. And then we're sitting over here with like our belly full of blood.
Well, here's the thing. You know what China did? And they did the smart thing here. They allowed companies like Tesla to actually be.
We had a little camera change.
They allowed. I'll go ahead and adjust.
The dog. It's okay. We'll just keep it like this.
Fine. They allowed companies like Tesla to actually be manufactured and built in China. And do you know why they did that, Rex?
Explain.
The reason why they would do something as silly as that is because you can learn from them.
Ooh.
And then you can make it better.
And
then you can make them faster, and you can basically know how the competition works and just build on top of it.
Right.
Simple as that. If you don't have the technology, China is a master at copying and making it better.
Right.
So let's go watch this.
Let's
look at this, because this is crazy. This vehicle here.
And design-wise, it's pretty tame. It probably looks the most similar to a Porsche Taycan in a lot of the proportions and the shapes back here. But they've definitely taken cues from a bunch of other EVs too. You've got this LiDAR box up here, which they use for their full self-driving. Careful, don't want to break my phone. But there's also these very McLaren-looking headlights up at the front here. This frunk kind of has Lotus lines to me. These wheels also with these big yellow Brembo brakes. A little bit less Porsche Taycan-like, but overall a pretty normal silhouette, if you ask me. I think it looks pretty good. It's actually understated. And then you go to the back here. This is where your charge port is. Obviously, that's a Chinese charge port.
What I like about it is it looks like an actual car.
Your
like
normal
Elon stuff looks
CCS
like space age.
Or NACS. But
skip
active.
ahead and look at the
specs.
inside real quick.
Starts. All right.
This is the review guy.
Driver's seat first. Immediately, this is way more impressive. This is a spacious, really clean cabin with a whole bunch of headroom and all this tinted sunroof above me. These really comfortable leather seats, a whole bunch of contrasted materials.
You can turn the tent on and off, I'm in.
And everything is super well built. There's ambient lighting. And of course, this wheel in front of me looks and feels a lot like that Porsche wheel with these little stalks at the bottom and then the general shape of the thing. It's heated.
Interesting.
Okay.
Seats are heated and ventilated.
So
there's the back.
Do you want to look at those seats real quick? Okay. I'm about to start going through some of the specifics. Leave it at this picture so people can see. I'm going to start going through some of the specifics of what this vehicle can do, because I was pretty shocked. So that driver's seat looks normal, but there's actually speakers inside of the driver's head, inside of the head. So when the navigation is talking, it doesn't cut the music for the passengers. It just reads the navigation from the back of your seat of your head as the driver. Wow. So that way it talks to you specifically from that spot, and not because I used to hate that too. It was like I'm sitting there trying to drive, or I'm listening to an audiobook or something like that, and like Siri has to sit there on
your left.
Yeah, and it's like shut the.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And you're just sitting there. So that's one cool thing. their phone, because this is a phone company that made a car, by the way. So the phone that they do a bunch of technology, but they made a phone. So they essentially made a phone that works specifically. The pre-existing phone works seamlessly with the vehicle. So it's like if Apple did exactly what they said they were going to do and make an Apple car that works seamlessly with the mainstream phone that people are using.
They used to have cars with landlines in them. That would be so cool. It's like such a flex. Like pull out the car phone.
Software, and then you've got the rear seats have tablets on them that people can go and watch TV. You've got active bolstering seats, was kind of like, okay, the way I can describe it is as you're driving and you're making corners, the seats hug you, right? And so that is something around. Yeah, it's the seats tighten around you as you take corners. And normally that feature alone goes into like $100,000 car, right? And then you're also talking about like the physical buttons in it. You've got like things that are in this car that make it, that's supposed to be like,
it's a higher standard,
to
like what you pay in America.
Exactly. Like our base model
luxury for
this isn't even the top of the line model.
Okay.
Not even the top of the line model, and they're giving you all these features. Now let's go and compare the side to side.
I got you. I know what you want
with this of comparing the Tesla, because it begs to differ. You're like, okay, well, how much does this vehicle cost? Because it should cost a lot of money, right? And when you look at it line by line, the base model, guys, in US dollars for this vehicle is $29,000. The Tesla Model 3, which is the base version of like Tesla that you could get, $34,000. And it doesn't even have,
and that's like the bottom floor too.
Doesn't even have all the features. Now let's look at the side by side of this guy. We'll compare the middle one because that's kind of like mid-tier.
It's a bigger car. It's a wider car. It's a slightly taller car by basically nothing. Slightly bigger wheelbase, and just going through the details.
Go down to the things that matter here.
Motor
so like
power.
The motor power.
It's a faster car,
better horsepower. You've
more
got
torque.
It's got a rear motor, which the other one doesn't, and rear motors is actually pretty
more
important.
Efficient.
Yeah, it's actually very good. And then you're talking about better torque. You're talking about better speed. Like the writing is on the wall here. Keep scrolling down. Let me see if there's anything else here. Oh, the battery range. Yes. Keep going. Is this the battery range? No.
Battery capacity.
Yeah. Basically
it's higher.
The CLTC range. That's it. But they have it in kilometers. I forget what the exact thing is, but basically this has a larger range.
Well, so Tesla's by about 15%.
Yeah, Tesla range is around like 300 to 350, and these can go like base is like around like 450, and then the max one goes up to like some crazy number like 600 and some change.
Right.
It's actually insane.
Wow.
So you tell me, Rex, this vehicle comes into America, hits the lot, and it costs you $29,000. It looks like a Porsche. It's got the freaking wing come up in the sport mode. You buying this or you buying a Tesla?
If it was 25 grand, I'd buy it. Like ultimately, this is very cool. And in America, honestly, like the coolest deals you can get are on like used cars, right? Just something that's reliable. Like to me, a hybrid Prius is actually a very cool vehicle, right? Because it's never going to die. It's got like 50 miles to the gallon, basically. Dual capability. You can charge it. You can fill it up with gas. You got that emergency power reservoir. To me, like I look at a car and I want it to be reliable, number one, and then I want it to be, I want it to be effective at what it's going to do, number two. So if it had a bigger range and it was cheaper, then I would just look at it and go, of course, this is a viable option. Whereas for a Tesla, for what I want, paying 60 grand, 55 grand for a vehicle, ultimately with a battery in it, I'm not doing it.
And then you're going to like Tesla is supposed to be the top of the line EV. We're not even talking about the other brands and companies that have built their own EV models in which their cost more than the Tesla, right? And then they're also their base models don't even have a fraction of these options specifically because Tesla has done some really good things as far as the EV quality has gone. So
Democrats get power again, we're going to have these. 100%.
I know. But like
no doubt.
the only thing why the Democrats were in power and prevented this from happening. Here's the thing: EU has already started to make moves to allow this to happen.
Rupert,
he's in the trash.
He got into the garbage. The dog got into the garbage.
I'll
go ahead and close this out, man.
I'll go.
You're good.
I'll sit here and yap a little bit.
Actually, no, it's fine. He's a demon. He torments us. It's all right.
Okay, so
he's back. Hello, Rupert.
Fundamentally, if you look at it, so like the rest of the world has already started to allow these things to happen. I actually saw a BYD here in America, and it was only because the guy bought it in Mexico and he drove it over here with Mexican plates, which you can do and stay here for a year. So if you want to go get yourself
interesting,
if you want to get yourself a BYD, go get your car registered in Mexico somehow.
The state troopers are gonna love to check you out. Yeah. Hey, friend.
Yeah,
like, what are you
go to
doing
Mexico
here?
City, get yourself. Go to Tijuana. Get yourself a little BYD.
Make this vehicle. I've never seen one of these in my life.
So it's like, here's the thing: the Democrats also ban this. The Republicans also ban this, and really it comes down to the lobbying that really happens around this. Elon is not getting in bed with the government for some strange reason. And I'm not sitting here trying to speculate, but here's the thing. There is a benefit to him having these government connections because at the end of the day, they can move the needle. This is in complete benefit of Elon's company to not have these cars that literally beat him in every category. Whereas Tesla survives now because it's the best of all the EVs. You do that, this becomes the top.
In the
dog.
land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I totally.
So this is why I'm like, dude, why? I hate all this like competing and stuff like this. Like at the end of the day, free market, compete, business. The governments are like too in bed with all this stuff. China, the same thing. Like China's doing a whole bunch of shit they shouldn't be doing. Whereas like if we fundamentally have a free market, checks and balances to that as well, so that there's not monopolies and we just allow people to do capitalism the way it was supposed to be made. You get a really nice car with cool features that doesn't cost as much. And actually you get to have the benefit of just having a good life. But instead we sit here and we have to make this a them versus us situation. And there's no global cooperation. And when global cooperation happens and barriers are taken down in certain aspects, you get good stuff that happens to you. So that is my end of my rant on that. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Rupert. I got Rupert poking out of the curtains. It's cute. Hey, buddy.
He's getting restless.
I think it's a phenomenal point. I mean, that's the biggest issue I have with us talking about our blah, 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 our capitalism, our free market, when essentially we really have the same system the Chinese have, except we run it a lot worse than they do. And when you look at the innovation that comes out from out of there, you can go, yeah, no human rights, and you work in the factory.
Let's say some of it fundamentally because they take control of the companies a little bit and steer the direction of these problems too.
But ultimately, when it comes down to something like saving Americans money, if you're able to get Americans cheap vehicles, that would be helping Americans out. But ultimately, it's like you say, the lobbying, the special interests, like why is Elon there? Why are all these other people there? Very simply to maintain the artificial market that they built around themselves, right? And this is something we talk about in the gray area all the time. It's just how the overarching systems impact everything. And it's very clear with this and other topics that there's another game being played. And in closing, what do you have to say?
I just eventually... there's so many topics to do deep dives and cover, but I really need to understand fundamentally why lobbying is even allowed.
Because it makes money.
But it's just like it doesn't work for the people like we think it did.
Well, it seems like that's the most effective thing to do. When you build a system, it's like screw the people the hardest, then like you do the best in the system.
It's insane. It's all about that shareholder. But like literally lobbying should be illegal, but it would never be banned because everybody's making money from it currently. So it's like, why would you do something like that and mess up the system? So whatever.
Indeed.
In closing, enjoyed this segment. I think the thing fundamentally that I just see around this whole thing is I just want to start talking about things that are important and that matter. And, Candace doing her thing, it's fine. Fuentes doing his thing, it's fine. But like this soap opera that happens in those spaces, look, you can sit there and pay attention to them, but they're not going to move the needle in your life. That's all I was
When did China start paying you off?
Mm-hmm.
When did that happen? Because we need to be upset.
Being educated about this thing, and knowing like, okay, well, there's a potential that I could get a better vehicle and this might come into the market eventually. And not everybody's going to
want enough crab in the bucket from you. Not nearly enough, because we have to we can't ever get nicer things. That's how you make money online.
Yeah,
is by telling people that, and then it's the fault of the other people.
I should stop being white-pilled about things. Maybe I'd get more viewership.
Well, and that's what makes the show so good is looking at these things from both like the worst perspective and the best perspective, and then trying to find the truth in the middle. That's why it's called the gray area. And we appreciate y'all being here with us tonight, right?
Yeah. I just want to read one of the comments.
You're all
well,
good. Capitalism
for whom, which country? Wasn't that supposed to be? Yeah, no, the World Trade Organization was something that was good at the beginning.
The World Theft Organization.
And we allowed China to come in, and it wasn't that positive to allow China into it, because I'm able to order stuff off of Amazon super cheap, super fast, easy, those types of things. Right. I'm not talking about job losses and things like that. I'm talking about net. But greed comes into play here, in competition and people dick swinging around.
The dog has a thing from the garbage chicken here.
That is what is causing the capitalism. And also capitalism that is unchecked is how we get to this situation where you have monopolies. And that's why the capitalism system that works right now fundamentally is not working, because we have lost sight of those checks and balances, which the government was supposed to be that check and balance. So,
right. I agree. That's high level analysis. It's great analysis, and we appreciate all of y'all being here with us tonight.
Thank you, guys.
If you find it in your heart, if you find it just within you to support the show, go to goprimalcore.com. You can use code core25 to get 25% off. These products are really incredible, especially if you're a guy. I know that we're getting close to the holiday season, but these make a phenomenal gift for yourself or your family. And it's unisex. It's a great product. Everyone knows and loves it. If you want to take ashwagandha, might as well buy it from us. You can go to goprimalcore.com. You can buy it there. You can also buy Elemental Drive, which I call it the male mineral formula, but it really is just an ultimate mineral formula for everyone to try. These are phenomenal products. These are products that will improve your life. And I've come from the supplement world. I've been doing this for a decade. I'm really proud of what we put together, and I really hope you all go to goprimalcore.com and at least check out what we have to offer. Thank you guys so much for being here with us tonight. Tim Tompkins, Rex Jones signing off. We will see you on Thursday, and we will see you on Sunday.
Yes, we will.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Modern life has left us out of balance. Long ago it was once said, certain remedies could grant a man the vitality of a horse. For over 6,000 years, these natural remedies have been harvested and tested by generations. Why create complex formulas when nature's roots are still in our hands? Try Primal Core. Ancient remedies for modern life.